if it were the case that the amount of work that you do is equal to the value that's derived, then the rocks that are found next to the diamonds or next to the gold in the gold mines would be sold in jewelry shops for the same price. Because those dirty old rocks, it was the same amount of effort to get them out of the ground as it was to get the gold and the diamonds. But clearly, that is not the case. If you walk past a jewelry shop tomorrow selling rocks, what the hell are you selling rocks for? Well, they took the same amount of effort to get out of the ground as a diamond. So the first thing is to understand that it's not about the amount of work you do. You need to reduce that as much as possible.
When your sky is gray and your sun's gone away, how you gonna be a happy leader today? Worry not, step this way, a better way of leading is within reach, you got this. And no drama needed, we'll put a spring in your step and teach you just what to say, and let go all of that stress in a sustainable way. So let's get this crazy show on the way.
This is The Happy Leader, the show that gives you the confidence to say what you want to say
and say it in the best possible way. You are fully prepared for the week. You delegated effectively to create space for critical tasks. You are crystal clear on your priorities. You optimize your focus with clear boundaries. And you are on your way to finish your week feeling accomplished. Stop. The imposter can protect you. Are you really doing enough? Do you even know where to begin with that critical task? How selfish can you be to take your lunch break? Distract yourself and stay in overwhelm with winning strategies such as doing all the small things first, saying yes to everything, using your inbox as your to-do list. Protect yourself from feeling on top of things with doing more, and more. Imposter! Get the out of here! For the OGs. Why the violence again?
You're one of the Spice Girls.
Oh my God! There you are.
Again, just the one for me at the end there with the missing the basket.
I think you're gonna shine in this episode, Andy. Yeah.
Those money shots on the basketball court, whatever they call it. I don't even know how many people are in the basketball team, to be honest. Well, he got the notes. There are other people in the show, so now we've got with Starry, the gentleman gifter, and the imposter.
And the imposter.
I love the imposter.
I love to see the size of the gentleman gifter. It's like a little leprechaun.
He's a tiny guy.
Yeah. Yeah,
He's a tiny guy.
It's a tiny guy.
And it's quite unusual. People confuse me with him. Like people, I've met a few people.
Yeah.
From LinkedIn, and they say, "Wow, you're tall." I was like, well, "I'm 6'2". I mean, it's not relatively tall. And they're like, "No, we thought you were a tiny little guy." Like, what? You think that? I mean, my profile picture's small.
There you are.
Me with a gentleman.
When it comes to overwhelm, one of the mindset that I see in a lot of managers is the everything is important mindset. And the thing is that there are a lot of things that are important, right? It's true. Like everything seems important. The thing is that when we have that mindset, there's a lot of unimportant things that come in and that we give our time and attention to, that it's taking a lot of our resources, and we could avoid that. So how do we want to start discerning what is important, what is not important? The one question that I like to ask is, what is your highest point of contribution in your role? And this is a concept that I got from Greg McCohen from he wrote Essentialism. Highly recommend that book.
Yeah, great book. Yeah.
What is your highest point of contribution? If you were to focus on one area, which one has the highest yielding impact on your results, on the results you want to have, right?
Yes.
So you want to think about that. It's not an easy question to answer, but when you ask, the brain is looking for an answer. So I invite you to reflect on that, ask yourself, brainstorm around that, and see what is actually my highest point of contribution.
It isn't something sort of abstract like this. It's something literally so concrete that you have to ask yourself the question, because when you ask because your brain is so busy, because it's so distracted, it can be easily distracted onto things.
Absolutely.
How do we distract our brain onto things? By asking that question. You have to actively ask that question all the time, and therefore you're distracted. You're getting yourself to think about that. Therefore, you're coming up with that. This is not a thing that you do once. This needs to be a habit. Asking a question: what is my highest point of value?
Hallelujah. I mean, yes. Reflect on that in your role, and then I would say reflect exactly as you said. Ask yourself daily, what's my highest point of contribution today? If I look at my calendar, where do I add more value, the most value according to the objectives that I want? And it's interesting that sometimes it's not necessarily about something that you do. It's not a task. Sometimes it's actually what you don't do. Maybe that the highest point of contribution that day is actually shutting up in a conversation so that you get to understand what the client actually wants. Maybe it's about identifying an opportunity to delegate for development, right? Instead of doing something yourself to help or to elevate one of your report to take on something so that they can practice specific skills that are aligned with their development goals. So we need to identify that. But when we're so busy, when we're like, everything is important, I'm doing everything, we don't see that. We don't have the capacity of discerning. The more we ask ourselves that question, the more we gain that capacity of discernment. And the real magical bit here is that the more we ask ourselves what is really important in our day, in our week, in our role, the more we start identifying what is not important. It just shows itself like, ta-da, right? You have a budget of focus. Yeah, you have a budget of focus. You have a budget of time and energy that you can spend during your day. You cannot do everything. So when you start identifying what is not part of your highest point of contribution, then this is so easy to set boundaries, to say no, right? Because we say no all the time. We say no on things that we're clear on what we want to say no on. But when everything is important, how can I say no? Guess what's in? If you're multitasking, you probably shouldn't be in that meeting. To learn further on the topic, we join our reporter at the Multitasking Championship. Andy, how's it going out there?
Well, thank you, Jen. And you join me here live in the boardroom for the quarterfinals of the Men's Multitasking Championships at the Corporate Games. Competing today is the Great British Champion, Johnny Boy Fingers Finnegan. The competitors have taken the room, so let's cut to the action. So in walks Fingers Flanagan now, jacket open for easy access to that smartphone. We're seeing a wider silk tie to provide a runway into that inside pocket there. A few stretches and he sits down, engaging in the meeting, some pointing here, some distraction. The double chin wag, fantastic. Well, what's going on? We got a cough. Is that bad news? Oh no, it's a distraction. And there it is. Oh, what finger in action. Well, let's have a look at that finger in action again. I've not seen a British lad finger this well for years. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. He's got the phone now in his hand. He's getting ready, opening up. He's getting it ready. Oh my goodness, what's this? A notification. He's got a notification. He didn't turn his notification. And he's fumbled. Oh, and a disastrous result from the jaws of victory. He snatches defeat. Fingers by name, not fingers by nature, and is back to the studio with you, Jen.
Defeated by a lack of preparation. Once again, multitasking fails to impress.
My advice is to invest a little bit of time and a little bit of laziness. How can I
love
do
that.
this?
Yeah.
Like, indulge your laziness, just for fun, just as the thought experiment. how can I get this done with the expected or over expected effect as quickly and easily as possible? How can I get this done like that? How can I cut this down? So I think ultimately what you really need to be clear on is, what do you want out of that situation? What is it that you want to get? What is it? How, if you're delivering something to your customer, your stakeholder, your client, what is the maximum value you can give them? Just go straight for that. Without the bells and whistles, just give them that. So you can think to yourself, well, instead of writing a mail, I can make a call. Instead of having a meeting, we can have a chat, sit down, have a coffee, have a chat. Instead of making a presentation deck, I can just tell them, because the value is the value. The diamond is the diamond. It doesn't need all of the extra trimmings to come along with it, all of the extra effort. That doesn't make it better. It doesn't make it more valuable. I would say this basically.
Yeah, that it's so interesting, because that's often a distraction. When we're overwhelmed, we don't ask ourselves those questions. We just don't have clarity on what is the actual objective here. And in coaching, I'm sure, that's what you do with your clients a lot. You just ask that, and people are like, oh, hold on. And then they start thinking, right? Because there's so much clutter in their head, which again, it's normal. So many things to do, so many internal inputs, external inputs, like there's so much clutter. It's very difficult to have clarity on that. Having these simple questions that get to the point helps us actually, I don't need to think about all of those things. I can just do that.
This is the real value of having a coach and a consultant, right? Because they ask you the questions that you don't want to ask yourself, right?
Yeah. And also they have a different perspective, or an external perspective on your BS.
Our main competitor's hammering us. You lot need to start working harder. Got it?
Well, shit, I think I'll go work there then. Must be the management's better. Probably they hire better people too. I ought to fit right in. Work harder, work harder. What? Where'd you learn your pep skills, boss man? Pantomime villain school? Hammering us. They don't need no hammer with you in charge. Man, I'm out of here.
Right on. Screw the evil empire. Come on, boys. Let's go work for corporate America instead.